All right. Well, we just recorded about an hour's worth of really good stories about Billy Meyer, um, Peter Lavenda. Um, we talked about the Magic Squares, the Abramelin, the Necronomicon, Billy Meyer, the hoax, and everything. John had his doc. We were just talking about Doc Holliday. John has six, if you can see them in the background there. Now they have one, two, three, four, five, six Doc Holidays, which are now very rare. Obviously, you can't get them now. But the one I like is the one towards in the camera to the lower right, which is the gold. It's like a gold Doc Holiday, and
Yeah,
each of them are completely unique. Um, Want to talk about it, John, a little bit?
yeah. I'm a big fan of Val Kilmer. I guess I've always been a fan of Val Kilmer. He's obviously an amazing actor. Everyone knows that now. That rest in peace, he's passed on. But I was you a big fan. I could always tell he took his work seriously. You were talking about Batman and how he acted really well in Batman. I just remember
Yeah,
watching Val, the amazing documentary on his life. And in Val, he explains, just watch Val, it's a great documentary. He
yeah, it is.
says he couldn't hear anything, he could barely see anything. So it's really hard for a accomplished trained actor to do anything in the mask. He said
It's
he
true.
mask had no ear holes. So he had to not be able to react to the other actors. He just had to
Oh, that's
memorize what they were going to say. So he
huh.
read the entire script and just waited for them to stop talking, and then he would do his part
Wow.
because he couldn't
Interesting.
hear anything. And so he
That's
said it was atrocious acting wise. You're so cut off, and that's one of the reasons he said no to being in. They invited him back to be Batman a second time,
right.
and
They
he
did.
said every boy dreams of being Batman, and he said he loved being Batman, but he said the experience of actually being Batman is a little bit different than the fantasy of wanting to be Batman. But he
Yeah, it makes
said he
sense.
was on the set of the original 1960s Batman. He got to see Adam
Was
West. He got to see the Batmobile. So he must have had
that's
some
interesting.
connections with his dad, I believe, having access to that set to an extent.
Wow.
That would have been
So
pretty phenomenal.
because I'll be honest with you, you can see that in the film and his acting ability and how he takes Batman
Mm-hmm.
because he plays Bruce Wayne better than in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
better than any other Batman actor, in my opinion, so far. I know there's going to be other ones, iterations. There's been
Mm-hmm.
Ben Affleck, there's been Robert Patterson, there's been George Clooney. A lot of people like Michael Keaton. A lot of people like
I mean,
whatever Batman.
to me, it's Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer.
It's fine. I
But Adam
respect that.
West does a great job too.
Love
And
Adam.
kids today are going to love Christian Bale or whatever the case. But
He's all right. He's great too. But I just think the way Val plays him is he had to be a fan from the like early day, like
mhm,
as you said, like as he said, I guess, quoting him, that he was a fan since he was a boy, or like every boy dreams of it. You can see that come out in the role because it's not just his Bruce Wayne is like very like every other Bruce Wayne, he's a jerk. He's a rich kind of like, but he plays a very humble Bruce Wayne, very
mhm,
soft, very soft spoken, like that. Like his lines are like this. And there's a clip of Val Kilmer on the red carpet of Eyes Wide Shut. I know we talk about Eyes Wide Shut and Kubrick. We're huge Kubrick fans. You're you've done amazing work on Stanley Kubrick. But he says they're asking everybody, what do you think the title means? But what does Eyes Wide Shut mean? And everyone's like, I don't know, man. I'm just here. I don't know. Probably, I don't know. We'll go see the movie. And they go to Val Kilmer, and he's like, well, it's probably they're not open. Their eyes are shut to the reality that's going on around them, or something like that.
mhm.
And he was spot on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's exactly what it was. And I was thinking about that because guess who he was his co-star love affair in Batman? Nicole Kidman,
Mhm,
who starred in Eyes Wide Shut and was married with Tom Cruise. So
mhm.
he would know exactly probably what was going on even behind the scenes, I would imagine, maybe
Mhm.
a little bit. So, and I
That's
think
true.
Kubrick was playing on that dynamic um, of the wife, the real jealousy that exists between Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman,
Mhm.
and the characters, quote unquote, um, you know, things like that. So
Mhm.
I always respected Val. Like I said, we were talking about Val's performance in Mass and Anonymous with Bob Dylan, the Bob Dylan story, where Bob Dylan basically they met backstage, and he asked Val to say some lines from Tombstone, and he said, "Well, why don't you play Mr. Tambourine Man or something like that?" And he didn't. But then years later,
Can I tell the story?
yes, please.
Okay, so Val Kilmer meets Bob Dylan. He's a big fan, and he probably doesn't know that Bob Dylan's a fan of his work in movies. And so Bob Dylan says, "Hey, can you say some famous lines from Tombstone?" And Val Kilmer says, "Oh, can you sing me Tambourine Man or something to that
I
effect?" I don't know the exact song he says, but it's probably one of his famous hits like that.
think it. Yeah.
And so he kind of offended Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan kind of offended Val. And they didn't mean to offend each other. It's just one of those things that happens, you know. Even
Yep.
celebrities could accidentally offend each other. And so Val felt so bad that he recorded every famous line from Tombstone and mailed it to Bob Dylan. And that was really nice of him. And they patched things up, you know.
Yeah, clearly. And like I think things are overblown. And I think, like I said before, Bob likes that back and forth. Like he wants somebody to stand up to him, kind of like that. Because Dylan was and still is to some extent like the personality. I don't know, Time Magazine, you Time Magazine. What about you? He's like that attitude. So,
Yeah, I
you
never
know,
got the Bob Dylan personality until you pretty much opened me up to it. When
yeah, it's like
Bob was asked, "Are you a devil worshiper?" Or whatever the case. You know that clip where that
yes,
famous 60 Minutes guy
60
asks
minutes,
him, "Why are you still touring?"
Ed
And Bob
Bradley.
Dylan makes a joke, and it went over my head because it's a subtle joke. It's so subtle.
What
He
was the
basically
joke? I
says
don't.
the joke was, "Oh, the master makes me do it," or whatever the
Oh,
case.
right.
And people were like, "Oh, well, you worship the devil? What's going on?"
Crossroads and stuff. Yeah, the
It
Invisible
was just
Master.
it was just Bob Dylan messing with the
Well,
interviewer.
the an interview was like, in this world, and he's like, yeah, yeah, in this world, in the world we don't see. And then everyone's
I
like,
think he was
hmm,
I think you're just messing with the interviewer. But
he
knowing
was.
Bob Dylan's personality, he's a pretty smart guy.
He even in that interview, the interviewer Ed Bradley, and that interview was filmed at Hotel Northampton, which was my mom's first job. Was working at this famous hotel in Northampton, Massachusetts. So that was filmed in one of the suites there, where Bob was staying and playing the next day. So, um, but
Sorry for the noise. If it's making noise, I'm loading my game and it's
oh, I
extreme.
can't hear it actually. So,
Not
are
too
you gonna
bad.
show? No, it's good. It's good.
Later on, I'll show a little bit of Dune Awakening. I'm plugging this game too much. I give it too much credit. Like, you'd think they would like at least one of my posts, the people who put out this game from
They don't.
Australia.
No.
But they haven't liked a single. I've probably tweeted about this game 20, 30
More-
times.
Yeah,
I've joined their competition. I say it's great.
yeah, you're
This,
great.
this
I love
is
your stuff.
this is the second podcast I've mentioned it too many times. The last podcast, the guy's like, "Oh, at the end of the podcast, I asked the guy if I could plug my movie, and the guy acted like, "Oh, you already plugged something a bunch of times." I plugged Dune
No,
Awakening so many times that he thought I like worked for them. But
isn't that weird?
I have no association with Dune Awakening.
You
I'm
think I?
just a fan of Frank Herbert, a fan of Dune itself. You know.
Yeah, I see you have your House of Atreides shirt,
Yeah, I'm wearing
which is
my House
very
of
cool.
Atreides shirt right now.
The Atreides, and we were talking about before how the Atreides are a Greek based ancient Greek legend, and from the Iliad, Homer's Iliad, where the War of Troy, Agamemnon's son is, oh, there's your sandworm.
Yeah,
They're
he's
the
my
sons of Agamemnon. Yeah, it's great.
1984 Sandworm action figure. I am a
That
fan
is
of of Lynch's 1984 Dune. I think
Look at that thing.
David Lynch did a great job personally.
I did too.
David Lynch must
Especially,
have been, I know, rest in peace, he passed away, but he must have been told so many times that it's bad that he began to believe it was bad. But if you listen to the
yeah,
interview between Frank Herbert and David Lynch, they only did one interview together. Frank Herbert praised David Lynch many times, and obviously David Lynch praised Frank Herbert. They praised each other. They liked each other's work. The thing that sticks out the most to me was Frank Herbert said, um, "There are parts of my book that he matched exactly. There are parts that may not be exactly the same, and there are parts that are better, that are even better than what I wrote." I said that was a pretty good praise from
yeah, that's big.
Frank Herbert to David Lynch.
Right. I mean, it's the number one you said to me, and I didn't really know.
Yeah,
I
it's the
kind of
number
figured
one best-selling sci-fi novel of all
of
time.
all time.
Yeah.
And it kind of spans genres when you think about it, because it's also fantasy too. It's, you know what I mean? It's hard to like knock it down into a certain genre, but if you
Mhm.
had to, I would say sci-fi, and it is the number one of all time, and it's definitely one of my favorite books of all time. Um, so I think he was a genius. I love.
Well, isn't Lord of the Rings your favorite book of all time?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, if I had to pick, I guess so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's up there. Lord of the Rings.
Brandon is a Lord of the Rings expert,
Yeah, I'm a
uh,
fanatic
fanatic. He has all the books, and
of
he's
all the
taken
books.
he's taken classes on Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never taken a class on Lord of the Rings. I'll tell you that.
Oh, well, we've done so. Signum University was Mythgard Academy at first,
Mhm,
um, and that's how John Evans and I met. Was back when there weren't that many podcasts.
mhm.
There was a thing called iTunes U, and it was iTunes University, and
Mhm.
it was. I found a thing. I was getting into Tolkien. I was like 27, and
Yeah, I can show you my Dune stuff. Here's
oh wow, nice! Look at that. You got the comic books. So that's
this is
great.
the three comic books still sealed in the original
That's awesome.
Marvel container.
Wow.
I don't want to open them
That's,
up because it's sealed.
no, I wouldn't either. Yeah,
But
that's very cool.
I think
It's
Kyle MacLachlan is a perfect casting for Paul Atreides. Personally,
I do too. I
I,
do too.
I think he's a great casting. I think he's a better casting than Timothy Chalamet. I
I
think
do too.
Timothy Chalamet is all right. I think he's pretty
I do.
good.
They
But
did great on the
when I
cast.
think Paul, I think of a guy more like Kyle MacLachlan personally. But that's just me.
No, I do too. Because he's definitely older. Timothy Chalamet, I think he's
Yeah.
good, but he's just a little guy. But but so with Lord of the Rings, I'll say this. So the Tolkien professor, who now has been lauded by uh, critics now finally, and Stephen Colbert is taking classes with us and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
Back then, there weren't that many podcasts, and there was only one real Tolkien podcast. And it was the Tolkien professor. So I was listening, and he basically would record his college classes that he taught Tolkien at. And he would have interviews with like respected authors and scholars and stuff. But then he said, "Well, I'm going to be doing a live podcast on the Silmarillion. It's going to be a seminar. We're going to go through chapter by chapter of the Silmarillion, which is sort of the prequel to Lord of the Rings, but it also encapsulates Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is maybe 3 pages in the Silmarillion. It's 1,000 pages as a book or something, as a complete book. Um, so the Silmarillion. So we start that. I had never read Tolkien before this. This was quite late. Most people read The Hobbit when they're kids, or Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings
I
when they're kids.
read The Hobbit. The Hobbit's
Right.
the only Tolkien book I've ever read because
Really?
I had to read it in school.
Oh, you had to? Yes.
But I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it greatly. So I'm happy that I have a visual of the book before seeing the movie because I
Yeah.
read it back in the 90s, 1990s.
Wow. So I didn't, and most kids have the privilege of um, being read it by like their parents, or they have to read it in school or something cool. I got like Jacob Have I Loved and Island of the Blue Dolphins and Maniac McGee and all these other nonsense books that really didn't have too much of an impact. But so anyway, so we start doing the Silmarillion seminar, and it takes us 5 years to finish the thing, right? Because the way Corey does it, he does page by page, almost word for word, and that's how a text should be approached and studied. And it was just so much fun that he started doing another book, and then that book, it was all Tolkien related. But then he started Mythgard Institute or Mythgard Academy, and then it became an online university. Now it's an online accredited university that you can get credits in for creative writing. We don't just study Dune. We've done classes on Dune. That was the first book we did that wasn't Tolkien related. It's all free on YouTube. It's all free on the website. There are classes that you do have to pay for if you want to get credit for your master's degree or something like that. But we do writing courses. We've done courses now. It's a legit university. Language courses on like German. I've taken Old Norse with the top scholars of the field too. By the way, Verlin Flieger, Tom Shippey, Vikings with Michael Dry. Like, how can you not? Beowulf. All these different influences and pieces of literature. And they always pick a book to do for free on the internet. So yeah, I'm a big Tolkien fan. That's how I started. Silmarillion seminar. And then eventually that morphed into this huge online university. Unfortunately, I had to go my separate ways. If I had stayed with that, I could probably be working for the university, but I love their work. I love what they do. Go check them out. They also integrate video games into the curriculum. So like,
Well, I'm playing a video game right now. I
you're
apologize.
playing, no, that's cool. You're playing gives me a chance to ramble. But Lord of the Rings Online is like a multiplayer online, one of the older
Played
ones
that
too.
for 5 seconds.
You didn't like it, huh?
Back in
Why not?
2010, I rented a haunted freaking room. You know that.
Yes, I do.
And it was a house
But that
with
room,
3 rooms. So there were 3 tenants, and the landlady who owned the place actually made the garage into her bedroom. She lived in the garage, which is kind of odd.
really?
She owns the house,
Oh, that's where she lives.
lives in the garage just so she can rent the 3 rooms and make more
Oh
money,
no,
I have to assume. But my theory is maybe she lived in the garage because she knew the master
she
bedroom,
knew.
which is where I rented. The master bedroom was extremely haunted, the most
Yeah,
haunted room I've ever lived in for 6 months. And
more than the other room.
people might say, why would you live in a mega haunted room for 6 months? Because I signed a 6-month lease,
It was a good deal,
forced and stuck there for 6 months.
and it was a good deal, wasn't it? It was
And
like,
it was a good deal. I
yeah.
was renting a place for, I think, $500 a month back in 2010, and I wasn't making tons of money. And at this other place called the Vortex, it's these college-aged kids who didn't go to college. They're a bunch of college dropout kids. They
I know the type.
they adopted a puppy, and they didn't take care of the puppy.
That's
And the
sad.
puppy went number
Poop.
2 and number 1 all over the wooden floorboard.
That's so sad. That's so
They
sad.
left the back door open, and it rained on the wooden floorboards. So I'm thinking if the owner sees this, they're going to charge these guys thousands of dollars. I want to get out of here. I have nothing
Yeah.
to do with the damage of these floorboards. I
That's
don't
right.
want anything. I'm not pitching in a penny for these guys
Rental
allowing
deposit.
their dog to destroy the floor. So I had multiple reasons to want to get out of there, but that was one of them. And also, 500 was actually a lot back then. Now, today, when we think about 500, that's nothing.
No,
But back in
right.
2010, that was a little bit too high for me. So this haunted room was, I believe, $400 a month. It was about $100 less. It would help me pay bills. It was a big help, and there was no drama concerning college-age guys without responsibilities. They didn't do the dishes. It just wasn't the best environment.
I hate that. I know that we talk about that.
And so I checked Craigslist, I believe is how I found it. And it wasn't the first place. I believe it was the second place I checked out. And I thought it was a great place to go. So I way too much for the how there's a deposit. I paid way too much for a deposit. I think
Really?
the deposit was like $700 or some extremely high amount.
Wow.
So I
Should be
paid
just
that,
one.
and then I paid the 400. I got in there, and I'm stuck with a 6-month contract. And then 2 weeks into living there, it's the most poltergeist haunted place I've ever lived in my life. Now, I do believe there are supernatural reasons that maybe they were sent to me specifically. But when I
Yeah.
mentioned, as I'm leaving this place 6 months later, I I knew, I'm never going to see this lady again anyway. Who cares? Might as well tell her it was poltergeist haunted. So I didn't go out and blurt, by the way, this is literally on me grabbing the last thing to my car as I'm never coming back. I
Right.
tell her, did you know the room is haunted? And she had like a ghostly look on her.
No,
And that's the last thing I saw of her. She
I
really
never
didn't
knew that.
respond with words. I think she might have said no, but I could tell her face said yes.
Right.
I think she knew he was haunted.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense
Maybe
living
she
in the
didn't know
garage.
that I knew. Whatever the case, we're
It
talking
was
objects were moved over 1,000 times.
all the time too.
When I
Yeah.
tell it to people, they try to tell me, "Oh, there's something psychologically wrong with you."
Nope.
When objects move, I don't have any magic powers to move them, and I didn't
Yeah,
envision my tripod knocking over my stack of
right.
DVDs.
You're not saying you did it, you know what I mean, with your mind. You know what I mean? It's like
But whenever you mention poltergeist activity, people
people
go
are
into the realm of, oh,
being
I've
psychologists.
heard
Everyone's a
this about
psychologist.
I've heard this about it. It's such
Right.
and such and such and such, and they give me the
And
definition of what they've heard. And whenever I hear people mention the definition of what they heard, oh, it's psychological problems, or there's uh, tension, issues, this and this and this and this and this.
yeah,
There was
easy
none
way
of
to
that. There was none of that at the time. I had a good job. I actually got promoted. I was doing pretty good.
yeah.
Everything
I
was
hate
going
when
pretty
people
good.
do that. People have done that to me where they say like, "Oh well, you obviously clearly have psycho." It's like, no, you don't know me, mother effer.
I
You
didn't
know,
have
like
any issues. And so what
it's like what like people. It's just such an easy way to dismiss something you don't like.
yeah. I
You
did
know,
a
what I mean? Although
podcast.
that person always, this person is. I have good friends that do this. Family members that will say, "Well, you always know that that guy was." It's like, no, that guy was not. That's an easy way to explain just so you know what I mean. It's like I really hate that.
Well, I love the
Uh,
Dave Chappelle quote when Dave Chappelle was obviously famously offered $50 million to
oh
do
yeah.
another season of Chappelle Show.
Mhm.
And he said no. And he said everyone in Hollywood, and probably his manager, agent, producer, everyone from Comedy Central,
Everyone,
are
Neil
like, "What
Brennan.
are you crazy? You're obviously this guy is crazy. We thought he was a smart comedian, but he's insane because he's
Right.
go to Africa instead." Dave Chappelle wanted to physically take himself out of that Hollywood atmosphere so much. He wanted to take a long vacation in Africa, and I fully
Hmm.
understand why. Um, I obviously don't have issues like Dave Chappelle had with $50 million, but he was already a millionaire. He probably felt he was rich enough, and that wasn't tempting enough to him. But they wanted him to wear a dress, and they wanted him to do stuff he wasn't comfortable with.
Yeah, he's not
And
crazy,
it's not the same scenario, obviously, totally different
but
universe.
no, but it's
But
still
it's
somebody.
a similar response when
You
people tell
must be
me I'm
crazy,
crazy.
right?
No, I'm not. But what one of the things,
And by the way, the people saying that you're not a psychologist. Like
yeah,
I've been called, oh, oh man, you're criticizing me. You must be crazy. No, you're not a psychologist either. I'm not
so,
crazy, but also you're not a psychologist, you know?
so I
So
did a
anyway, sorry.
podcast. I did a podcast called Movie Something. Can't remember what it's
Mhm.
called. Never saw it.
This isn't your podcast. This is
actually did this guy's podcast twice, and I'm never doing his podcast ever again.
Why? What happened?
Because the first interview was all right, and the second interview I thought was really good. I thought it went really well, except for his questions. But I just pivoted and responded how I wanted to, and I came off
Except for him.
and I came off really good, and I answered his questions really thoroughly. But he tried to tell me in 10 replies that, you have any childhood trauma?
Oh,
I don't
God.
know. I have zero childhood trauma.
I don't either. Yeah.
Nothing ever happened. And
Right.
maybe I was trying to explain to him, maybe that's why I had so many paranormal things happen to me, to balance out the universe. Maybe everyone needs to suffer some trauma. So the only trauma I have is actual supernatural stuff. There's no stuff behind it. This isn't the movie Pan's Labyrinth,
Right.
movie Where the Wild Things Are,
Coraline.
Coraline, and all those movies. There's like some trauma that creates monsters.
A fictional world.
No trauma that created any monsters.
That's right.
It's actual supernatural monsters, if you will, from thin air, if you will. But I believe there's a higher dimension.
Me too.
And these entities exist on a higher dimension. And whenever you get the questions of, oh, what's the trauma? That's coming from an atheistic perspective. These beings can't possibly exist.
Right. It's got to be psychological.
I understand, if you read like H.P. Lovecraft, clearly Cthulhu doesn't exist. I don't believe in Cthulhu.
No.
It's fiction. And so that's how they're approaching demons and poltergeists and spirits and angels. They're approaching it from it's all fiction perspective. So I understand their side of the coin.
Right. But it's not a complete story, even if it is, because when I've had my own experiences, which I can't, even if you have an experience like you have, you're smart enough to not be like, oh, all experience must be the same. I mean, there's commonalities, but you can't have my experience. I can't have your experience. So obviously there's a dimension of your mind is witnessing it and taking it in and processing it. But that's true with everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's only one piece of the puzzle. It doesn't mean that objectively this thing or didn't exist or doesn't happen. We've gone to John and I, John especially, has gone to incredible lengths to show that these things are objective and not in the mind. Right? Am I right? Like, I mean, thousands of dollars of equipment.
There's a pretty famous actor who I was very surprised did an interview. Can't remember his name. It might have been the guy from Reno 911.
Oh yeah.
I know that's a generic.
Swartzen? No.
I'm not 100% if it's the guy from Reno 911.
Which one? No, there's a lot of guys.
I could be wrong on who it is, but I think it might be Thomas Lennon, the guy who wears the short shorts on Reno 911.
Yeah, he was in the state. I love the show.
I could be wrong. Maybe it's not him, but this actor is famous, well known, and I believe it was Thomas Lennon. So I could be wrong about the name. So this is the guy's story. He said he rented a room in Los Angeles, a very famous apartment complex. And I've pinned it down and I've narrowed it down where I think I know where it is. I want to ghost investigate this place. It's not the first famous person to mention this place.
I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to say the name.
I think it might be near the Roosevelt Hotel.
Not that place. Yeah, but I know that place too. But I think it's something apartments, right?
Something near the Roosevelt. And the Roosevelt's famously haunted. But some apartment complex near the Roosevelt, apparently every single person who ever goes there experiences paranormal stuff.
Wow.
And I think it's Thomas
LA
Lennon.
is crazy. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think it's Thomas Lennon. And this is the story. He said, like, at least once a week, he would see a ghost run through his wall while he's just chilling. A ghost runs through the wall. Like once a week he would see this. Or maybe even once a night. A ghost freaking running straight through the wall, just reenacting over and over and over, like jumping off the building or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And he said he researched and researched and researched until he found out that his floor, which is the top floor of the entire apartment complex, didn't used to exist.
Oh,
It
really?
used to be the actual roof of the apartment complex, and they built it as a new story. So it was the roof, and he pieced it together that the guy was jumping off the roof and he was reenacting. And he said he went to great lengths to not be scared by it, to avoid it, and he eventually moved out. Maybe he did mention how it was a good rent situation, and so that's
Yeah.
usually what it boils down to. If it's a good rent situation, you're not going to move out immediately, even with something as crazy as that. But someone
Yeah.
as high caliber as Thomas Lennon, who co-wrote "At Night at the Museum," I mean, he's a very
Did he
big,
really? I
yeah,
didn't know that.
a very acclaimed writer,
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
actor,
He's so.
probably director,
I
and
remember when he was on the show The State. Do you remember that show, The State?
oh yeah, The State. That State was a
Yeah.
hilarious comedy
Oh my
show
God,
on
so good.
MTV. Yeah,
MTV. Yep.
I love The State. I see The State whenever I see someone from The State. That's all I think of is The State,
Yeah.
not what they're famously known for.
Reno
And
911.
I
Spill
was able to see a couple of The State members at Jack Black's Festival Supreme. So I got
Oh yeah, that was
because a
great,
lot
wasn't
of
it?
them are in
A
that
different
Wet
thing.
Hot American Summer movie.
Oh, is that right? I never saw that. Yeah.
They did a Wet Hot American Summer theatrical thing on
Bikini thing.
stage, and I got to see
Oh,
that. That was pretty cool.
that was a cool festival. I think that was when Tim Heidecker premiered his comedy persona.
Yeah,
Right?
I did see Tim
Where is it
Heidecker do some comedy. He was
with the
anti,
leather
he was
jacket?
definitely anti-comedy.
It's like an anti-comedian. Yeah.
And
I saw him do that too.
like
He still does that.
his earliest anti-comedy was him talking about, oh, some people like Coca-Cola, some people like Pepsi.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't get more anti-comedy than that.
Well, he's doing
Uh,
like his character is the thing is that you've watched this
I
person.
understand the bit. I understand the
Yeah,
bit. It's a bit inside of a bit, and he knows a lot of the audience doesn't understand
yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on, which makes him
But
laugh.
right. But also the audience too, because they know they're also in on it with you. But
Yeah.
there's also people that aren't, and there are people that aren't going to know who he is, and are going to be like, oh, or vaguely know him, and be like, oh my God, his comedy is terrible, you know. But
Well,
but
I
yeah,
would say the funniest stand up I saw
yeah,
at Festival Supreme was maybe Neil Hamburger.
okay.
And normally I wouldn't say
I
he's the
love Neil.
best. Normally I wouldn't say he's the best comedian in the world, but it live, watching people's facial reactions to his comedy alone was comedy gold.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
here's Neil Hamburger, which is obviously a persona, a character created
Greg,
by
yeah, Greg
what's the
Turkington,
guy's what's his real name?
Greg Turkington,
Yeah, Greg Turkington, who was in Ant-Man. He's been in the
Ant-Man, yeah,
movies.
the entertainment.
Successful guy.
Yep.
He, you know, owned a
Used to
record
live in Silver
label,
Lake.
signed Anton
Yeah,
LaVey, and did a
he's
vinyl record with Anton LaVey
did
of
a
all people.
vinyl. That's right. He did a vinyl with Anton LaVey.
And so, as Neil Hamburger, I've seen him, and he's pretty funny. But live, we have a security guard to the right and a security guard to the left. All right. They have no idea who Greg Turkington is. They have no idea who Neil Hamburger is.
Right.
They don't care. They're just paid security to stand there so no one rushes the stage, right?
Yeah.
And this is the small stage. No one cares. No one's going to rush it. But Neil, also known as
Greg.
Neil Hamburger, also known as Greg, he's talking. He gives like super raunchy, dirty
Oh,
jokes. He's mentioning Britney Spears and all these random things. And I can't remember the punchline, but he was so awful. And then seeing the security guard guy go, what the freak is this? It made me laugh so hard.
that was so good. It's so good. He came.
The security guards had no idea what's going on.
Oh,
They
that's
thought
the
he
best.
was the lounge act that he's pretending to be. That's
I
what
love
was
it.
hilarious.
When I saw him for my birthday. I saw him 2 nights in a row, and Duncan Trussell was opening for him. And I got in touch with Duncan because I used to live next to Duncan in Silver Lake in LA years and years and years ago when he was with Natasha Leggero. We had my girlfriend or ex fiance and I had the same dog walker as Duncan and Natasha back in the day. So we kind of knew each other, but I knew he was on tour with, and I said, all right, I'll meet you there. Met him there, met Duncan there, hung out with him after the show, outside, people, whatever. He signed everything for me. He signed a picture. I bought a Time Life magazine of secret societies, and he signed a picture of Alice Crowley, some kid right for me. I was like, oh, whatever. And I still have that. Neil Hamburger was there, and Neil, because the place, the venue at the time was only, well, okay, let's put it this way. Aerosmith, you know the band Aerosmith, basically were born there, basically. I mean, Joe Perry and Steven Tyler still to this day live around here. I'm sure it's not their only house. They still live around here. They were formed here. And all Neil did was joke, his raunchy jokes about Steven Tyler and Aerosmith. It was the entire set. So he wanted to make people uncomfortable. I mean, he's in the heart of where that band was born, and
Yeah.
they are some hardcore fans. I mean, I
Mhm.
like them, but he really laid it in the, like you said, the best thing was watching the reactions of people that aren't in on it and don't
Yeah.
know that it's like this is like meta. And so yeah, there's people like that, like even Jimmy Brown's a little bit like that, I think. But yeah, Greg's great. But yeah. Oh, I wanted to get back to something we mentioned,
So I
and you
apologize
mentioned.
for playing a little bit of Dune Awakening,
No, that's okay.
guys, for
You can
that.
multitask. I can't.
If I don't harvest fuel cells, my base falls.
You got to do
So
that
the
then. But
developers designed a game where you're so busy harvesting fuel cells that eventually it evolves into you only log in to harvest fuel cells and then you never get to actually play the game unless you have no
that's what I
job.
don't.
If I had no job, I could play the game,
Right. Well, I remember.
but I'm not independently wealthy, and so
Yeah.
I do have a job, and so I don't have time to dedicate
No, it's stupid. Yeah.
hours to. So eventually, I'm going to let my base fall. Eventually, unless they fix it.
Well,
But this is my
hopefully.
this is my nephew's base actually. So my nephew basically quit the game. I'm
Uh,
actually helping my nephew's base not fall, and I'm going to see my nephew at the end of the month or whatever, and I'll say, hey, if you don't log in, I'm going to let it fall.
it's
He's the one who told me about this
a
game,
very uncle thing to do. Yeah.
and I'm just keeping his base alive
Yeah, that's cool.
and my
That's
base
nice.
alive. So I'm taking. Also, I have 3 bases, so I'm keeping 4 bases alive, which is nonstop harvesting fuel cells. Kind of super annoying. It's like a job. Other players say it's like a job, and that's not fun.
Well,
It's not.
a lot of games are like that. Like I played this like a little cell phone game, and I also play Shadows of Mordor. And but um, this cell phone, like a lot of it is like farming. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you got to do this, you got to build that. And then when you have enough of that, you can finally upgrade the factory. And when you get level 13 factory, then you can actually do gameplay and fight. It's like, I don't want to do that. Like you said, it takes all day. If you didn't have a
Mhm.
job, then it'd be fine. If you didn't have a life, you just said do that. So maybe we can, you put out some really great art from Dune, little screenshots of your base and the night and like the cool outfits that you have. You put a lot of work into video games. Like I remember seeing you play Cyberpunk 2077 when it I think basically first came out. And I was kind of trying to watch like people play it and blah blah blah. And there were walkthroughs and stuff, but watching you play it was like, and remember Sam Shadow? Um, they said I was like, we were watching it together with Lord Josh, and I was like, he's playing it like I've never seen anyone play it this good. You know, because in the game when you first start out, it's kind of clunky. You don't know how to. You were like pew, 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 running, jumping over, throwing things, diving. Like I was like,
Well,
holy moly, that's how to
I
play
learned how
it.
to drive pretty good with GTA
Yeah, you
5.
do.
It has similar GTA 5 mechanics for driving.
But I mean, even like the shooting part and the jumping and like throwing grenades and like like your combat, it was just like, whoa. So John's very, very good at video. You were a beta tester for video game, right?
Yeah, I've been tested many video games, but my nephew, I played a couple of missions on Dune Awakening with my nephew, and I
Yeah.
think he was impressed by me just kill shotting all the NPCs super fast, and then I think he was a little demoralized because I'm just too good at
Really? You are very good at like that stuff. It's like you're the
Well,
real Marty McFly.
I like the game Red Dead Redemption 2 Online,
Excellent game. Yeah.
and I one shot snipe the NPCs even better than the Chinese hackers.
No
The
way.
Chinese hackers, they can have God mode and cheat and give themselves $1 trillion. But what they
Wow.
can't eat, they even use auto aim and cheat and shooting. But for
Right.
some reason, I'm still better than them. I'm still
Wow. You don't use auto aim?
I've never used auto aim, auto
Or
shoot in my life. I've never used it once
no
ever.
way.
Not once.
Wow.
I know it's very common these days.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me how common it is. I've never downloaded it, used it. I don't know how, and I'm not interested. I manually just get the scope and learn how to snipe real good. That's my weapon
Yeah.
of choice. I snipe in video games only, not in
Yeah.
real life, you know.
No, of course. But we all stem from, but you, so what you mentioned before was interesting. We did a whole, like I said, we recorded for about an hour, but a recording button wasn't on. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's on now. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
apologize. We recorded for an hour. We can do a quick summary version of a few things we touched.
I, yeah, I just want to mention one thing though, that you mentioned that I found that I was going to expand upon that was really interesting. You mentioned the magic square of Abramelin, right? And
Yeah, I
magic
said that the
squares.
Simon Necronomicon seems to have been written by someone who not only was a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, that's where they got the name. H.P.
Hmm.
Lovecraft obviously invented the word Necronomicon,
Yep.
but I think they were also familiar with the Abramelin, a very famous
Yep.
standard text in many occult organizations, including
So, and
the OTO.
yeah,
It's standard reading material for the
yeah,
Aleister Crowley's earlier thing that he joined, the OTO,
yeah, the
and then
AA or whatever.
he started his own religion type thing. Not his
Yeah,
what's called Thelema,
Thelema, Thelema. Yeah,
Thelema, yeah, similar
yeah,
thing. But the OTO
yeah.
is very famous. We had Yates was a member, the
Oh,
Irish,
the Golden Dawn as well. Yeah.
and Crowley said Yates was like a pansy occultist, like not a diehard one like him. Like,
He's very Christian. Yeah.
yeah.
But I was gonna say that Magic Square, it has certain words on it. Sator is one of them. Sator. And it's a magic square. But one of it is tenant, right? Tenet is part of the magic square. Now the magic square, that is the basis of the film Tenant by
Oh
Christopher
wow,
Nolan.
I didn't know that.
Sator is a character in the movie.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
the movie itself and all the I forget the other names on the Magic Square. Do you remember any of the other? I don't know.
There's
Sator.
many magic squares. The
No, but there's
magic
like one.
in there's different magic squares. There's numerical, and then there's obviously the numbered numeric. There's
No,
alphanumeric, and then there's
yeah.
numeric. And
Well, I'm talking
the ones with letters like Sator, Tenet,
tenants.
they
Yeah,
have to be the same backwards as they are forwards.
that's what I mean.
And the numbered ones are supposedly more powerful or whatever if there's the same
Whatever.
forwards
Yeah.
and backwards. But if you go through the Abramelin, there are many that don't have any backwards and forwards tricks to them.
So tenant.
Supposedly, supposedly
Yeah.
uh, a magic square This is occult belief. Supposedly, it's kind of like a coordinates to
Oh,
open
really?
yourself up
Oh, yeah.
to an angel or a demon. So if you, I don't want to go
Yep.
into details on how to do it. And a lot of people say it's not real, but it's ancient. It's an ancient belief system. Not math.
Yeah.
There are mathematical squares, but they're not the same as magic with a K, supernatural magic, occult squares. It's a totally different thing.
Hmm.
But mathematical squares are, you can see them in math books occasionally. It's a totally different
Yep.
thing. In the occult world, if you focus, and I don't want to go into details on how to do it, because I don't want
Yeah.
to promote occultism in terms of devil
No.
or anything like that, but
Yeah.
it's a subject of study. You can study neutrally. I've personally never done it. So I've never summoned an angel or a demon using magic words. Never done it. Not interested. Peter Lavenda,
All right.
depending
Okay.
upon what decade you ask him, would be either super interested or super disinterested, you know. But
So, yeah.
you
But
focus
the
on it,
magic,
it opens up dimension or whatever the case on a supernatural level to communicate with these beings.
yeah. So the magic square that I'm talking about, like kind of famous one that you'll see, is Sator, Arepo, Tenets, Opera, and Rotas. Now
Mhm.
that's all those names are in Tenet, the movie Tenet.
Mhm.
And Christopher Nolan designed it so you can watch the film backwards and forwards, and like because it deals with time travel, right?
Mhm.
And so I just wanted to mention that's a big key to understand. People are like they don't understand Tenet. They love Christopher Nolan. They think Tenet sucks. Well, rewatch it with that in mind. That all these characters are actually one square of
Wow.
they might, you know what I'm saying? It's really
Pretty
interesting
interesting.
the levels. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that that was cool. That's part of the,
Well, I have
the
to rewatch
hour.
Tenet. I've seen Tenet once,
I gotta
but
see it again.
I have to
Yeah,
rewatch it.
it does because yeah, it. I'll just say this: like, there's the protagonist who's this guy, and he gets induced into a secret like CIA, NSA organization that tries to control what they call the algorithm or um, time travel, essentially using time travel technology. And the way they do it is good. And it opens up at an opera in Kiev, the Ukraine, which is pretty interesting and prophetic for that what's going on now. Um, you know what I mean? And so, and then Sator is the main antagonist, the villain in that. His name's Sator. There's an opera, excuse me, and then there's like the other names, are in there as characters, but all the characters I realize on second watch are manifestations of the one character.
Huh.
So they all are him. They all are him, or they all are you, the viewer. Um, so it's fascinating. And Michael Caine is Robert Pattinson's character, grown up or whatever in a different time. And it's also the protagonist. The protagonist is also all these different characters. It's like a fascinating. I think it's underrated as a studied movie. You know what I mean? Like Nolan is a avowed Kubrick fan, and so like he's into different levels of movie making and stuff. So he's gonna have that kind of thing in there. But we did mention too in the previous hour that Peter Lavenda wrote Simon Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And John has the Dead Names book, which is actually really it's like a hardcover copy signed.
Yeah, I have the signed hard
There it
copy of
is.
the names. I saw
There
that
it
he
is.
was going for a lot, and I just watched it until I found a decent valued one, decent cost one, and just wanted to
Cool.
add it to my collection. I do have my collection. I kind of I tried to emulate the dude from the Ninth Gate,
Oh yeah.
just on a superficial level, I guess you could say. But I, because I don't practice this stuff, but I'm a fan of researching, and I personally think information is neutral. What you
Yeah,
do with that information determines whether it's good, bad. Um,
I agree.
I have come across many people of different backgrounds. It doesn't matter if they're atheists or Christian or whatever the case, Buddhist. A lot of them are scared of occult books.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
I mean,
and there's a lot of famous people that are scared of it. But the guy who played the bad wizard in Lord of the Rings, what's his name?
Christopher Lee. Yeah, Christopher Lee. Yeah.
Christopher Lee was asked about occult books. You probably saw that clip.
Yep.
Christopher Lee said, well, what did he said?
Has one of the biggest collections of occult
Christopher
books in
Lee
the
said, don't dabble in the occult,
right.
in occult books. Not only can
Yeah.
you lose your mind, you can lose your soul.
Oh, right.
He was like really stern
Yeah.
and really serious about it.
Yeah.
But I've never practiced.
I think he's talking about the practicing. Yeah.
I think researching it from a neutral perspective is okay. There's a guy
Yeah.
named Manly P. Hall, a very
Yes.
famous, passed away, rest in peace, Canadian occult researcher to an
Was he Canadian?
Yeah, he was Canadian to an extreme degree. But I've been to the Manly P. Hall
Silver
Library,
Lake
which is in Los Angeles. I've been to his library.
Philosophical Research Center.
So he settled in Los Angeles. He started
Yeah.
the Philosophical Research Society.
Yeah.
He was a fan of Blavatsky, of all things. Maybe they were
They
friends.
thought you were the reincarnation of him, right, or something.
Maybe they were friends. See, I didn't research Manly P. Hall on any great length. I had one or two of his books. I wanted to see his library in person because I didn't know he was so close to my house.
Amazing. Oh yeah.
So I went and I checked it out. I asked them if I could film the library. They said no. I
They
asked,
said
if I,
no.
could, I asked if I could take photographs of the books. They said yes. So I took
Okay.
photographs of the books, and little do they know, I had an iPhone which took mini movies, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to know the exact books Manly P. Hall had so I can buy some of them.
Yeah.
Some of the things he researched. So I
Right.
bought a book called
Initiates of the Flame.
I wanted to find the most obscure books that
Yeah, he did too.
One
Yeah.
of his books is called
Initiates of the Flame. Oh,
Dragon Image Demon. Now,
Oh,
no
wow.
one in the world has a copy of Dragon Image Demon. Okay,
really?
It's kind of a super obscure, super rare, super unknown. Never heard of it. So
I never
for like
heard.
a year straight, I looked for it, and I found a copy, and I bought it, and it's falling apart. Like the spine
No.
is falling apart. But I wanted an original. I didn't want a reproduction, and
Yeah.
I don't buy reproductions because I was actually reading a Manly P. Hall book. I can show you the book it is.
Yeah.
One right here.
Oh, look at that.
Manly P. Hall.
Beautiful.
Let's see if I can get a better lighting situation. Manly
Initiates
P.
of the
Hall,
Flame.
Initiates of the Flame.
Yeah.
So when I bought this, I was buying every book that had initiation in the title.
Really? Okay.
Because I want to see the different perspectives on what they even think initiation is.
Right.
And I've learned after buying and reading many books on initiation, there are many different types of initiation. There's Masonic initiation, there's spiritual initiation, there's psychological initiation. But I'm more interested in the supernatural, spiritual, kind of leave your body initiation.
Wow.
That even voodoo, Vodun practitioners talk about. And I'm sure there's a Christian side, and there's many different sides of different types of initiation. So I wanted to know what Manly P. Hall had to say about it. And on page 33,
yeah.
Manly P. Hall mentions Jesus.
Amazing.
And it's not a coincidence. He doesn't mention Jesus on page 33 coincidentally. Famously, Jesus passed away on the cross at age 33.
33.
And Manly P. Hall put that in the second
Age
edition.
33.
Second edition of his book, Initiates of the Flame. Now, if you buy an Indian copy, no offense to the Indians who make copies of everything,
that's
appreciate it. And I do buy some of these Indian copies. Some of them are beautifully bound and everything. But they're going to randomly grab the PDF and randomly print it out, and they're going to jumble the words. And it's not going to be on page 33 anymore, and the significance and the meaning is lost. But Jesus
That's
being on
true.
page 33 isn't the only thing that jumped out to me. We're talking 10 things jumped out to me in this book. So
Really?
many things jumped out to me that I wanted to go to his library. This book is what wanted me to go to Manly P. Hall's library. He has
Yeah, it's a cool library.
He has an original Ankh from Egypt in his library, like a
That's cool.
really rare, straight from a tomb Ankh.
And
There's
you
a
love
lot of
Ankh.
cool things.
You love Ankhs, right?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ankhs. And
John, for people that don't know, John created like this giant staff with an Ankh.
I can get it.
Excuse me. On top of it, he might have it. Okay, there it is. Oh, here it is,
Yeah,
guys.
here's the
Look at
giant
this thing.
Ankh.
Oh my God, this thing is
I made it
beautiful.
myself.
Look at that.
I crafted it from one piece of wood myself. Took a long time.
Wow.
I wanted
see
it to. I wanted it to look like an artifact out of a tomb.
It really does too. That thing is amazing. I remember the character you had of like he has a staff and he has that
Yeah,
and he has the
I do
thing.
have the staff in my attic.
I remember showing Lord Josh that. And I said, John, I said, that's John. He said, no way. He's like, no, that's not. And then he thought it was the awesomest thing that you had like that staff and you had that character in the woods with the snow and like the robe. Lord Josh was like, that's John, But I'm like, yeah,
Well, I visualized that.
that was
I
amazing.
visualized the hat and the arm. I just like bringing things that I visualize to life.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like exactly as it is how I pictured it in my head.
That's so good.
I had to screw and sand this so many times to get it exactly right. And just as I fashioned this, and I'm not a woodworker, I got poplar wood, which is extremely hard wood. I got the wrong wood, but it's really hard.
Yeah, that's about the size of the cross I have that I was telling you about. I got a cross from Gifts to Give, and so basically a Salvation Army that's big, and they have a free table. They were giving stuff away, and the cross is about that big. It's as heavy too. Obviously, I didn't make it though, but it's a crucifix, and I'm looking at this thing. I have it. I'll bring it for the next episode. I'll bring it down. Really nice wood and everything. I'm looking at the crucifix and I'm touching it and I noticed that it slid a little bit. I'm like, what? And it slid up and it slides up. You slide it up and inside there's a secret compartment inside. And there are two tiny, tiny, tiny placeholders for candles. And there's a little vial of holy water. And there's an old script for the rite of exorcism and the rite of last rites.
I would be a little freaked out if I found an exorcism crucifix.
I'm not sure if it's
not
100.
Take it home. But you said so far nothing supernatural's happened, right?
Nothing supernatural's happened, and also I don't think that an image like that of Christ can be corrupted. I think actually demons are afraid of the 3D crucifix rather than just the cross, or the 4D, whatever. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think something that good and holy can be corrupted. It could be, it's possible, but I think demons stay away from those things. You know what I mean? There's a reason why it's that, So
last I checked, the Ed and Lorraine Warren Haunted Museum has a couple crucifixes in there.
Do they really? Do they? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like Ed and Lorraine. I've read not all of them, but most of their books. They get really dark. And they were supposedly like the only sanctioned Catholic by the Catholic Church of the Vatican to investigate with exorcists or work with exorcists.
I never knew they were sanctioned.
That's what they said. That's what they say in like all their books.
They're obviously extremely famous because of the movies. See, I didn't realize.
Oh, now, yeah, that's right.
I didn't realize how famous the Warrens are because
now they are huge.
I listened to every single Ed and Lorraine Warren interview in Art Bell.
That's right. They were always
after Ed passed away, I listened to every Lorraine by herself
Lorraine.
interview on Coast to Coast AM. So I listened
Yeah.
to every one of them live on my CC radio, listening live. So a good, I don't know,
You had a CC radio?
5 to 10 episodes. Yeah, I bought a CC radio because Art Bell plugged it so many times. He
What
said
was the name? Like the
that
guy?
it's the
It was
best
CC.
radio in the world,
Yeah.
C Train Radio.
I almost got, yeah. And then the guy would come out and he'd be like, "Hi, I invented the thing," or whatever. He's like,
Well, I mean, Art Bell said if you're a serious AM radio listener, which I wasn't, I only listened to Art Bell, nothing else.
Right.
I never listened to AM ever other than Art
That's
Bell.
how cool Art Bell was. Yeah.
That's how cool Art Bell was.
He really was. He really was. He's
But
like,
I listened to every single Ed and Lorraine Warren interview. What sticks out to me, because I listened to all of them, was Art Bell asked Ed, "What's the scariest thing you've ever heard, EVP wise, or just anything on an investigation wise?" And these are people who coined the term EVP, electronic voice phenomena.
That's
it didn't
true.
exist until the Warrens coined it.
Is that right? Wow.
Ed and Lorraine Warren went to graveyards. They'd say, "Hey, any ghosts here?" And they record it. No one did that before them. No one.
No.
Because they would actually get responses. And they said, sometimes they don't get responses. We're not going to be playing the non-responses. Obviously, we got the best ones for the radio show, and they played some of them live. And some of them were pretty good. Some of them were pretty good responses. But Ed said the scariest thing he ever heard was he was in a house reported to purportedly be haunted, and they're investigating. And he said a lady who was not his wife, some random witch lady's voice yelled at him at the top of her lungs, disembodied, and there's no one there. He said he heard it without the recorder, with his own ears, like a couple feet in front of his face. He said that was the scariest thing he ever experienced. So spirits, they knew about the Warrens, and now everyone apparently knows. See, I didn't realize how famous the Warrens are now, because those shows I listened to over 20 years ago, Coast to Coast.
Yeah. Well, it's those movies that are so popular.
It's the movies. But when my niece knew who the Warrens were, that's when I realized how famous.
Wow.
Even my niece knows who they are. And she started talking about the Warrens like she was an expert. And then I was like, hey, I know.
Wow.
I know about the Warrens.
That's classic, Uncle. I was same thing with my niece. She didn't say the Warrens, but she's into, what is it, Paranormal Activity is the movie series, right? Mm-hmm. And she has, or she had at least, an app for your phone. And it's called the Necrophonic app or something.
Oh my gosh, I would never recommend a phone app.
But so many kids do and students do, and they're like, they know the language. Like one of my students is like, he'll be like, I showed him some of your clips, and I'm like, yeah, I've done ghost hunting and stuff. He's like, that's you? When we did the grist mill stuff and research, and talk about, like, see, we'll talk about this later, but demons, I think, or that spirit realm, they know when you're recording, so they can avoid it if they want.
Oh, they know. They're intelligent entities.
Right.
I had a conversation with a guy just via posts online, and I'm not going to say what website this was, just a famous, popular social network. And this guy said he investigated 100 times. And he said every single response was like a robot, he said, and non-intelligent, and clearly just a replay of some historical thing. And I told him in response, well, I've been on 100+ investigations. I have the video to prove it. Here's my channel. Check it out. I said, and I have the exact opposite. All 100 times, if I got any responses, they were immediate response to something I just said, immediate actions to something I just said, always showing intelligence. I believe, because of that Thomas Lennon guy said some ghost mindlessly repeated jumping off a building. So I believe obviously that exists. But after 100+ investigations, I personally never experienced any EVPs or actions on the devices of anything other than immediate responses. I even told the guy that I was in Tucson, Arizona, using my Mel meter, the most advanced millimeter that existed at the time,
Mm,
the Pro model with all the bells and whistles.
hmm.
The antenna has a static meter on it, and I particularly love static electricity meters because they're independent and different and separate.
I
Scientific
like those too. Yep.
from an EMF meter. See, every ghost investigator uses an EMF meter,
Yep.
um, but very few use static meters.
Right.
Static electricity can have magnetic properties, but
Right.
it can also not whatsoever and be totally separate.
Okay.
So they can intertwine and be similar, but they're two different fields, two different things, two different ways to detect the invisible. So
Right.
I'm investigating a ditch that's connected to a pipe from a famously haunted slaughterhouse. I actually drove by
Oh,
the
wow.
famous slaughterhouse in Tucson, Arizona, and
Okay.
there was no sidewalk. And I wasn't about to pull up to a closed place and just investigate around the place
That's
near
funny.
their chain link fence.
No way. Yeah.
That I don't want to invade anyone's privacy.
No, no thanks.
It
Yeah.
was closed, but like in a couple of weeks they were going to open for Halloween. They do a Halloween thing where you can do it,
Oh, really?
pay them money. And I wanted to obviously do it on a more professional level, not on an entertainment level. See, I do it for scientific reasons, scientific purposes. And I
Mm-hmm.
saw, believe it or not, a Ghost Adventures episode where two houses are connected via a secret tunnel that collapsed decades ago.
Really?
That the Ghost Adventures theorized maybe the spirits are going through this tunnel because two houses connected by a tunnel are both haunted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a separate episode with a similar tunnel theory going on. And I was like, wow, maybe ghosts do use
These
tunnels.
tunnels, yeah.
It's not a
It's
human process. It's
they don't have to, I wouldn't
more of
think,
a
but
TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thought process, but they're going to use it anyway. They're not humans. And
sure. It's a space.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I researched. So I went online. I found a pipe system where the old slaughterhouse would have drained the blood
Oh, wow.
from the
Oh,
cows through this pipe into the ditch.
that's
So
a
I
lot of energy.
went to the ditch. I recorded with it we're talking two, if not three recorders. I had lapel recorders. So I'm recording my voice, but I'm also recording EVPs. I'm recording the millimeter
Mm-hmm.
and over the grate with where the pipe would sloosh water and so on and so forth, blood, I heard the craziest pig-like EVPs. It sounded like a pig going,
Really?
oink, oink, oink. Literally, I couldn't hear it with my ears. Only on the playback could I hear it. That is crazy. The pig-like sound alone. They probably slaughtered pigs there, but
Oh, that's so sad.
the craziest thing was I'm in the ditch with my millimeter. I recorded this entire thing. It's on YouTube. So
Yeah.
unlike this guy who claimed, oh, there's never whatever, there's someone saying there's never this, never that. And I asked, where's their video or audio evidence?
Yep. They don't have it.
They
Never have it.
They
Never
never
have
have
it.
nothing.
Never.
I've been on 100 investigations. Sure, I don't have 100 videos for it, but I have 50 videos showing
Listen,
maybe half of 1/10, whatever. I might have 10% of the investigations on video, maybe 10%, because maybe the rest isn't good enough to put up there. But I do have
people love
hours
being
and hours and
contrarian.
hours. I
Yeah.
have more than 10 hours of, more than 20 hours, more than 30 hours, whatever the case,
I mean, just our trek alone.
How many hours
Our
is that?
investment. That must have been, we were there, what, 2 hours maybe?
Yeah,
At
we
least.
recorded the whole thing.
And John recorded the entire thing. He went out of his way to make sure it was away from, so any naysayer, and I had him after, even like my friends.
We left our cell phones in the car.
Yep. I was gonna say I was just gonna say we left our cell phones. I was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, because it can interfere. And like people forget that. So we left in the car. We walked a good distance away from power lines. And here's the place. And it's in the middle of nowhere. There's no interference. And this little
It was built
plastic
in the
device,
built in the 1830s. It's
1830s,
never
this
had
little
power.
place. So yeah, it's probably never had it. It's a grist mill. It works. Its power is water. So, but the device that was set off was like a little plastic thing with like these little. We'll maybe play the clip sometime or a link to it, but it had like these little plastic things on it like this, right? And if you
It's a static meter with
static meter,
lights, with LED
it's
lights.
not. It wasn't even as heavy as this JBL speaker. Okay, it wasn't even as heavy as this. It's light. There's barely anything in it. There's no interference going on. Now, when you touch this thing, right, and I touch it, it's on the video. I take it and I'm like, yeah, okay, and I pick it up and it goes bzz, very sporadic. The bzz, bzz. And as you should, you touch it and it goes bzz, it lights up a little bit.
Yeah, everyone has like a static electricity on their fingers. If you rub a balloon, you know,
Sure.
everyone's familiar with it. It can build up, it can shock you. And so you want to stay far enough away from this device to not give it a false reading. But
right.
I believe spirits also have this little aura of what they can build up static electricity and prove their
They have to, because if you watch the video of what happened, okay, I can light up the device. It goes bzz, like that all at once. The device by itself, we were maybe 10, 15 feet away recording several different cameras. Okay. John has it all set up. He's a professional. And we're recording, making sure I'm recording. I'm far away, even though I'm zoomed in on the device. All right. And we're asking it things. And it lights up like this: red, green, yellow, blue. Now, if you, there's no, you would have to maybe hold on to it like this for it to do that. You couldn't even, I don't even know if a human could make it light up like that.
Yeah, see, I'm such a skeptic myself, and
Yeah,
I'm so scientific minded myself that I went to the location 7 times and I recorded for at least 2 hours every single time. So do the math on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
14.
13, 14 hours of footage I have on my computer. And I haven't uploaded all 14, but I have uploaded probably 5 plus, 6 plus. I still have the rest of the footage. I'm making a documentary on this haunted grist mill. And the reason I haven't released it yet is because just for time restraints. I'm focusing on a movie right now.
Right, you're right.
I do want to release that documentary. I do want to release the grist mill. I've researched it to an extreme degree. The guy who built it,
fascinating.
I can tell you he helped build missions in California. And I researched him enough. And I don't want to give his name away because I don't want ghost hunters to bombard the grist mill.
Right, no way.
I don't want Zach. I'm a fan of Zach Bagans, okay? I'm a fan of the ghost hunters guys.
Sure.
One of the ghost hunters guys told me, one of the co-founders of Ghost Hunters, the original show, it's the bald guy. I mean, no offense to the bald guy, but I like the bald guy. I think he's the cooler dude out of the two. Yeah. And they kind of split up and did their own shows. But I like the guy. I mean, he's a cool dude. I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he told me this guy emailed me out of the blue years ago.
No.
He said, "I'm a fan of your John Teeter video. Wow, you did a great job. That's really cool."
No kidding.
He said, "Come on my podcast." Or he actually said radio show. Come on my radio show, but he was a live streaming radio show on his website.
Yeah.
And then at the last second, he uninvited me.
Why?
In Hollywood, and he's not Hollywood, but he's connected enough to be Hollywood-ish.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, you get invited and disinvited at the last second all the time. I've literally been invited and uninvited half a dozen times to do documentaries, to do radio shows, to do
projects. Yep.
It happens all the time. I'm personally not offended by it anymore. It's happened enough where I've grown a thick enough skin where I don't want to.
You're not jaded by it. Yeah.
For example, the guy who's making a John Teeter documentary right now, he invited me on like 2 different John Teeter documentaries in the past 15 years, to the point where I thought I was going to be on it, and I got my hopes up, and then I wasn't on it. And then I saw on IMDb And I'm like, hey, how come I wasn't on that? He invited me, and I said yes. But he lives in Canada.
Yeah, it happens.
He lives in Canada. He just didn't have the resources to fly out to me or whatever the case. And I know that now because his current documentary he's working on, he did fly to me. He flew from Canada all the
Wow.
way to California, and he interviewed me with a
Did he
professional.
really?
Yes.
Good.
Uh,
That's
I,
great.
I, he said, do you want to meet at your house? Or in his mind, and he's a real director. He has in his
Yeah.
mind, I want to interview you at a diner. And I said, that sounds cool. It's awesome. So
That's awesome.
he rented an entire diner just to interview
No,
me. There's no second person, there's no third person. It's just me at a diner with a huge $1 million camera in my face.
that's awesome.
And so
What?
it was a cool
So,
experience.
so it hasn't been released yet?
It hasn't been released yet. He hasn't reached the conclusion of who John Teeter is yet because
Oh,
he
really?
wants to definitively say, here's the proof.
Mm,
He's made enough John Teeter documentaries. I think he's made 2 already. He wants this one to be the final, he wants to have breaking news.
nail in the coffin.
The nail in the coffin. Here is John Teeter. And believe it or
Smoking
not,
gun.
I can't reveal this any
That's fine.
secrets. I can't reveal
No.
any secrets. But he did email me not too many weeks ago. We're talking 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago at this point. He said, yeah, I'm still working on it.
Wow.
And so I mentioned it to my
Yeah.
it slipped. I mentioned it to maybe one coworker, and that coworker
Oh, boy.
told 2 coworkers, and then 3 coworkers are like, "Oh, you're in a documentary." And
I hate that. Yeah. That's
and
how I got forced. Yeah, I'll tell you later. But
I told one coworker, that's it. And because it's not
it's all it
released,
takes.
my current coworkers think I'm a liar. My current coworkers think I'm
Right.
lying and it's all fake. And I was not interviewed, and I'm not a John Teeter expert. First of all, my coworkers never heard of John Teeter. They don't know who John Teeter
Right.
is.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
they think me going to Long Beach and being filmed for
It's a big deal.
3 hours.
It is.
No, they think it's fake. They think I'm
But
delusional.
no, because they don't, in their minds, it's never happened to them.
They
So
only know me as the coworker. They don't know
as a
me as
coworker,
outside of work.
same thing with me. I keep that stuff on the way down low.
Yeah,
I'll
I
show.
I separate work from at home. I
Me
don't
too.
brag, but I was
Nope.
excited. I was excited enough for I mentioned to one coworker, and that's
Yeah.
fine. There's nothing wrong with being excited about something.
But then they're like,
I'm
they're
not
like,
in documentaries on a professional level too often, so
Yeah.
it was really exciting to me. I mentioned it, and his name is Jay Cheel, is the director. He's a
Oh,
legitimate director,
I
and
think I might have heard of this.
he's gonna be in my movie. He's gonna be voice act in my
Cool.
movie. So let me just
Shout out
super
to him.
quick. Let me plug
Go for
Necktie Lumaton real quick. My movie, just super quick. A plug. So wake up to anyone who's sleeping. Necktie Lumaton is the name of my movie. It's not a haunted investigation of ghosts. It's not John Teeter or time travel. Although Jay Cheel said you should throw some time travel in there. I said I'd think about it. I don't want there to be time travel because I want the character to 100% exist in the future.
Right.
My favorite part of Back to the Future Part 2 is when he's in 2015 and he's walking around in Cafe 80s and there's all these cool futuristic things going on. It's only 15 minutes. If you really look at the time, that's only 15 minutes.
Oh, is it really?
The rest of the movie is an alternate 1985 and it's kind of depressing.
That's right. That's true.
I don't want my movie to be depressing. I want it to be the fun, awesome 15 minutes of Back to the Future Part 2 for the whole
Absolutely.
2 hours. And that's what I want my movie to be. I'm thinking I want to hit around 2 hours. I want it to be a full feature-length movie. It's not going to be professionally made on the level of Hollywood and having a team of 20 people.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be independent, low budget, but I'm a perfectionist. Like you said, I'm a fan of Stanley Kubrick.
You are.
And I mentioned to Jay Cheel, I mentioned my Hoax Hunter logo has the axe, the exact axe from The Shining.
Oh, really?
If you look close, the handlebar is the knife from the Blackthorn cane in Clockwork Orange.
Oh, wow.
That's how much of a fan of Stanley Kubrick I am. That
That's
even
true.
a decade ago, I put that in my Hoax Hunter logo. I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. And that doesn't mean I'm
Huge.
Stanley Kubrick. He's untouchable,
Right.
like the greatest director of all time. But he
Yeah,
has
I
taught
agree.
me, if you watch his movies enough times, he has taught me a few of his tricks. And I think even Steven Spielberg would agree. If you
Yep.
watch the greats enough, you can learn. You can learn from them.
Yep. Absolutely.
Steven
Yep.
Spielberg and it's the DVD voiceover for The Shining. Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg says he's watched The Shining like 20 or 30 times.
Really? Yeah,
This
that's right.
was back during the DVD extras. So who knows now? Maybe he's seen it 50 or 100 times. I don't know. But I wanted to catch up to Steven Spielberg. I think I've watched The Shining 30, 35 times, something to that effect, because I want to learn the
Me
secrets.
too.
I think it's an amazing film.
Never gets old.
The Shining is the most haunted film I've ever seen, because the
Yeah.
ghosts aren't popping out like some
Right.
cheap haunted house.
No, they're
The
demons. Yeah.
ghosts are almost invisible
Right.
in the movie until the very end, of course, but you can feel the eerie feeling, the saw blades music, the
Very
freaking
subtle. Yeah.
the saw and the violin playing the saw, the most eerie music you
Yeah.
possibly pick for a movie. I
And then
love
like creepy old 30s music, you know what I mean? Like,
my
yeah.
favorite song in the whole movie is when Jack first walks into the haunted gold room up to the haunted bar.
Yeah.
As he's halfway through the doorway in the bar, the music it's just
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes.
And just a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick. So I want to throw in what I've learned, a few tricks. I mean, for example, in Clockwork Orange, Anthony Burgess, amazing writer.
Great writer. Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick, for example, you know the house where it says home and lights, and a horse is running, and you have that Adams Probe B car
Yeah.
driving up, and the
Yep.
actors get out, and they're going to go harass some random people in this house, you know. And
Mhm.
inside is the body actor for Darth Vader, and you know, as the bodyguard for this guy and his wife.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
For Vader? Okay.
I mean, I can get his name. Rest in peace. He
No, it's
recently
okay.
passed away.
What's his name? James Earl Jones.
No, James Earl
Him?
Jones did the voice after the fact in post. When
Yeah.
I mean,
You're talking about the body.
George Lucas is such a genius. He knew
He
even
is.
before post. He just didn't want to hurt the feelings of the actor. His name is David Prose. David
Okay.
Prose was actually in the suit the entire movie.
Right.
And David Prose has a very tall man and very intimidating stature. And so that's the stature George Lucas wanted. But the voice George Lucas wanted was James Earl Jones. So
Okay.
he found
Got it.
him and had him dub every scene. David Prose's voice was just not intimidating, you know?
Mm.
And I think he had a British accent, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
He was born in London, and he passed away on November 28th, 2020, 5 years ago. So rest in peace,
Oh, wow. Rest in peace,
David
yeah.
Prose. But so that scene where they drive up to a house is one location. And then I could be wrong, but there's steps.
Yeah.
There's steps, which is a second location.
Yep.
And inside the house is a third location.
Yep.
That's a Stanley Kubrick trick, using 3 locations to
Yep.
build a fictional one location. And I'm going to be
Yep.
doing that throughout my movie Necktie Lumaton many
Oh, cool.
times, because I want to do it. I've already done tiny tricks like that in the past, but you know, you don't have to ask for permission. You can walk up to a door, grab a handle, and then you have permission on the inside of whatever place you're going to but you don't necessarily need permission to walk up. We'll see what
No.
happens. It's one of those cases where I'm so low budget that I'm going to ask for, um, what's the cheap way to go? You don't ask for permission because they're going to say no. So you ask for forgiveness after doing it. You know, and you film,
Yeah,
film,
right.
and then you get out of there. That's my strategy. I'm going to film. I'm going to get out of there.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Primer. I talk
What
about
is
it
it?
a
Primer?
lot. Primer is a 2004 movie directed by Shane Carruth. He directed and acted in it for budgetary reasons. So I'm going to direct and act in my movie for the same reasons. My movie is going to exceed the cost of Primer. I consider Primer a pretty good movie. I saw it in movie theaters. Probably most people did not see it in movie theaters,
I
but I
did
saw
not.
it in a small
Really?
movie theater, Primer, for the first time. I saw it on the
No
big
kidding.
screen, and I was pretty impressed by it.
Yeah.
You have to be in the movie, and in a movie theater, it's a lot more impressive of a movie. Watching it on TV and pausing it and having breaks, there's a lot of dialogue watching it for like the fifth time. There's
Yeah.
so much dialogue that I would say there's too much dialogue.
Too much. Yeah. I've seen that happen. Yeah.
My movie's not going to have too much dialogue, but
More action.
as Lord Josh asked me, are you going to have some corny lines that really stick out? And I said, well,
Funny one.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to be inspired by Lord Josh's corny lines,
Yeah.
and other movie corny lines. Like Lord Josh has some great lines in his Goldie character.
Goldie. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I was talking to him today. I talk to him like every week and at least and a couple of times. And I told him we were doing this podcast. He definitely would like to come on. So I
Okay,
think we should, if it's okay with you,
most definitely.
have him on maybe next time, something like that. But he wants not just to talk about whatever we talk about, but just be in on it. But Storm of the Century is a Stephen King.
He wants me to watch Storm of the Century. He
He
recently
really
asked
wants
me,
you. I want you to too.
he's asked me like 2 or 3 times.
You would,
He recently
John.
asked me again, watch Storm of the Century. I told him I'm a fan of Stephen King. I'll definitely watch it. It's just a
I think
TV
it's on
movie.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I have to find it somewhere on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. I can send you the link. I
Okay.
can, but it's free.
I know Lord
there's
Josh is obsessed with it. He has like a cane, a perfect
Yeah.
reproduction of the cane from the movie. So I
Right.
know he's big into it.
But it ties into the entire Stephen King universe.
Mhm.
That small little slim. I mean, the book itself, it's like tiny. It's just a short story, but it's so good. It ties into all of Stephen King's works. It tells you how demons work too, and how they're intelligent. Like, because Andre Lanoge,
Mhm.
the main character, is a demon, and how he can manipulate people by preying on their thoughts and their fears and this and
Mhm.
that. And oh, you just got to watch it. And then so he's a big fan, and Lord Josh would be. I think he'd be great in your movie as well. I would love to be in your movie as just even a voice.
Yeah, you're
Nick
going to be in
Luke,
my movie. I invited Lord Josh to be in the movie,
he would. I
and
think he'll want to.
he's kind of on the fence.
Oh,
But I
really?
want him to know that it's a very serious production on the point from the perspective of I've worked on it for like 16 months.
Yeah.
I've poured every penny into it. And if I were to ever give any advice to anyone who's poor like me, don't make a movie. It's too expensive. But if you're pursuing trying to be a director or an actor, then do it. Maybe don't do it on the level that I'm doing it here with Necktie Lumiton. I think I've poured too many thousands of dollars into it.
Oh, really?
Personally,
Of your
because
own money?
I've exceeded Primer's the cost
Budget?
of Primer's
But
budget.
you also, I would say, take that dollar to, like, you could take $1 and make it like last 2
Yeah, that's
weeks.
true.
Like,
I mean,
you
I'll
get
go
so much
to a
value.
dollar store. I'll go to the 99-cent store and I'll find tons of stuff.
Yeah. You're
and
a true
I'll
artist.
repurpose it, repaint it, and I'm making the props from scratch. but I'm a
You're also not,
perfectionist,
yeah. You're
and
also not beholden to a studio. You're not beholden to
yeah,
whatever. And I was gonna say too, I saw a recent movie on Amazon, Netflix, and Tubi, and all these platforms out there that people make, like independent people make. A lot of them are bad, but there are some real gems in there. There's some real
mm,
weird, you'd never heard of independent gems in there.
yeah.
And so I think
I
you
saw
would
I
be
saw
on there.
I saw a totally independent green screen movie recently. It's
Yeah.
sci-fi, and the writing was actually pretty funny and pretty good. The writing
Mhm.
exceeded the visuals, and so you can really jump off the screen with your talent, no matter what the budget is. I saw a really corny UFO documentary on Tubi. It
Yeah.
was literally a YouTube video on Tubi. Tubi paid money
No way.
for a YouTube video to
Mm,
be on there as a documentary, because it's not a documentary, it's
weird.
a YouTube video. So
Right.
when I saw that, it kind of inspired me. I'm like,
Yeah.
my movie is far above this. It's a movie. I'm not going to put my movie on YouTube. It is not a YouTube video. I spent 16 months or closer to whatever, 12 months saving up money to even
Ah,
buy the camera. So I spent
right.
like 12 months saving up to buy the camera. So I finally acquired the camera. It's a professional Netflix approved
That's right.
movie
Yep.
camera. It's
Yep.
the it's not the cheapest Panasonic movie camera on the list. It's the second cheapest. The
Okay.
cheapest doesn't have a viewer. You can't see it. There's no view
Oh,
finder in the cheapest. I didn't want that one, so I
that's nice that you have one. Yeah.
got the second cheapest Panasonic because I love Panasonic. It's a quality
It's
brand.
tough. Yeah.
Everyone on YouTube pushes Canon, 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 Canon.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why are they pushing Canon? So I bought a Canon. I didn't particularly like it.
No.
And then I realized they're getting paid to push Canon. These are
Yeah.
advertisements
That's
by YouTubers that are paid cold hard cash to
yeah.
advertise Canon.
Getting a
Well, I'm
kickback.
not getting
Yeah.
paid a
Exactly.
penny from Panasonic. I like
Right.
their quality product. And so I got a Panasonic. I'm not disappointed.
Really.
I got six lenses. I got three modern cinema lenses and three vintage cinema lenses. And I like the
Whoa.
vintage ones better. They're made
Really.
in Germany. They're made in other countries. I think
Wow.
one was made in Japan, and they're high
That's cool.
quality. They're high quality. I like the look. It looks like a really high quality 1970s movie almost,
Really.
because it's an old lens but a really modern camera. It has an
Right.
interesting look to it. I already have a favorite
That's cool.
lens. It's a Zeiss lens. It's a very nice one, and it's probably going to be my main lens for the whole movie. But the reason I have
Yeah.
six lenses is because cinema lenses aren't autofocus. You don't autofocus with a movie lens. That's professional.
Right.
Um, they're going to have a crane or whatever the case. I don't have any cranes. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do any. There's not going to be much green screen, if any. I'm going to try to have minimal green screen
That's good.
unless it's 100% necessary. I'll give you an
Mhm.
example where I need some green screen. There might be a scene where there's whatever the case, and I can't use words for this, but there might be me needing to do this, and I can't walk around the neighborhood doing this without someone calling the cops.
Right.
So I might need to use green screen in a scenario like that
Little
to be
things. Yeah.
100% safe and not scare my neighbors. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Especially these days. That's really cool. How did you come up with the name Necktie Lumaton? Because
Neckties
I,
Luton?
yeah,
Well,
because I've
this
mentioned it to
movie,
people. Oh, I've just mentioned it to people and they're really intrigued by the title. They're like, wow, that sounds really cool. They think Lumation or Luminated, but so go ahead.
well, just to explain the movie for people that don't know what it is, it's a cyberpunk, futuristic, sci-fi comedy, and it's comedy because I want to keep it lighthearted to an extent, but it is inspired by Blade Runner. It's inspired by Max Headroom a lot, and Max Headroom is actually inspired by Blade Runner. And I
Oh, really?
recently saw something where the cast of Max Headroom are saying, everyone's saying, "What's this show about?" Everyone's saying, "Think Blade Runner." So I didn't know that. That's a behind the
No way.
scenes. Isn't that hilarious? So Max
I had no
Headroom is a
idea.
little bit of a spoof of just a Blade
On
Runner esque universe.
fascinating. Didn't know that.
So I
Wow.
thought that was pretty funny. And my movie is a Blade Runner esque universe as well. It's not Blade Runner. It's not a copy and paste of Blade Runner. It's its own story, its own universe. But I like the Blade Runner Max Headroom setting. So it's going to be that type of a setting as opposed to, say, Mad Max. It's not a Mad Max setting. It's more Blade Runner, more Max Headroom. And
Cool.
but there's some light, happy things going on, and maybe there's gonna
Good.
Jade Shield said it was going to be a dark comedy, and I said, there might be some dark comedy in there, but it's not going to be a purely dark comedy from A to
No.
Z.
Right.
Uh,
I can get it.
but the necktie aspect, there's going to be neckties in the movies. That's why a necktie, and I can't give it away. I can't reveal
Okay.
what neckties because it's too pivotal to the script.
Plot. Yeah.
And I'm somewhat of a paranoid person on the level where I know that
People do steal ideas. Yeah.
Hollywood rips off ideas
We
in
don't definitely know that.
nanoseconds. I
Yeah,
mean,
they do.
the movie Red Planet,
Yep.
the
Perfect
script
example.
with Val Kilmer,
Yeah.
Red Planet, was known to be in production, right?
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer was working on Red Planet for a long time. He did home movies in the spacesuit. They worked on it, and the movie went over top over. They just production went over by a couple
Right.
months, if not 6 months. It went
Yep.
so over, and that happens. That
Yeah.
happens on a professional level. It just
Sure.
happens. And what happened was the script got leaked so much, which is common in Hollywood, that the movie Mission to Mars was made and released before the original.
That's crazy.
Mission to
Yeah.
Mars is literally a leaked Red Planet script. They changed the entire movie, but it's a crew going to Mars. And then
Yeah.
almost at the same time, almost simultaneously, Mission to Mars comes out first, and then people are saying, "Oh, what's this Red Planet?" Well, they ripped off
Yeah.
Mission to Mars,
Yeah. I
and
remember
then
that. Yeah.
the Red Planet people are like, "Oh, now they
I
think we
like
ripped
both
them
of those.
off." So I did the research on which one, and then it
Didn't
came
know
up
that.
pretty easily that Red Planet was in production long before Mission to Mars.
Interesting.
Just Hollywood is so fast at ripping off and
Really is.
producing that they changed it. They changed it dramatically. It is not the same script.
No.
The writers
But
didn't steal anything. They just stole a very vague, basic concept.
idea.
A team going to Mars. That's it.
Yeah.
And you can't copyright and trademark a team going to Mars. So, the same thing
Supposedly.
happened. The same thing with Armageddon and Deep Impact. I forget which
Yep.
one came first. I forget. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, one of them came first. One of them was a leak.
But a meteor. Yeah.
Which is
Hitting
why
Earth.
in some scene in some movie settings they tell the actors, do not leak this, you'll be fired.
Yeah.
You're under strict, we're not even going to give you the script, here's just your
No.
lines. And
But
they're
now
they crack down. They know the
with
theft is rampant.
with the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit script, I guess they had a courier deliver it to Ian McKellen, Gandalf,
Mhm.
and he read it, and the guy stayed there. Or same thing with Quentin Tarantino scripts. They stay there and will watch you read it, and it's only your lines or something like that. And so, and then you do give back the script, and then that's it. You don't have it, so they try to prevent that leak. Like there's like Quentin Tarantino is super, like he reminds me of you a little bit in some ways, in the sense that like he is like so smart about like taking precautions here and there and stuff. Like I think as a filmmaker, as an artist, and bringing like his vision into life, like he's lucky enough to be able to do that. And he's also just a great director, but he keeps it super like a Quentin Tarantino script. I think you have to maybe read it at his house. He doesn't even let it out of his house, I guess, or
Yeah,
at
he's a
least,
great writer. I think
yeah, once
Quentin
a
is
time in
great.
Hollywood.
He's a great writer. I want to go visit his
He really is.
cafe. He has a coffee shop. He has a movie
Does he?
theater. I want to go visit it.
He did own a. He bought what, the cinema something dome or
He
whatever
bought not the dome, but he bought his own movie theater. I want to
movie
go
theater. I
visit.
forget the name of it,
I
but
really
it's in
want to
LA.
visit it.
Me too. But he owns that, and then because he's just a huge fan. Kevin Smith too.
It's
Kevin
called
Smith is
he bought the Beverly.
the Beverly.
Quentin
Thank you.
bought the
Yeah,
Beverly Cinema,
which is nice. It's actually nice. Um,
and it has a coffee shop
yeah.
called Pam's Coffee.
Oh, like Pam Grier.
And I was actually in LA passing the place when I went to the documentary
Oh, cool.
for the John Teeter documentary, and I wanted to
Yeah,
stop at Pam's Coffee just so I can brag. Oh
to
yeah,
see
I
that.
just got on set in a couple hours. I wanted to brag, but I was late because of traffic. Traffic was so bad. I was
Uh,
actually like 6 minutes late.
Traffic's so bad there. That's what it sucks. If
Right.
you don't live there, you don't know. It's
I
just
planned to go to Pam's
two
Coffee,
hours.
and I will. I am going to Pam's
Um,
Coffee. I'm going to the New Beverly. I'm a fan of Quentin Tarantino. I would say Quentin, watching his movies like Pulp Fiction, especially,
yeah,
um, and Reservoir Dogs and Jackie Brown.
I, I
What
actually like
what
that
comes to
Jackie
what
Brown.
comes to mind is he's very good at writing a very flowing conversation that flows
Hmm.
so naturally that it sounds like it's coming from three different people.
Yeah,
You know it came from one person.
yeah,
And like Kevin Smith, for example,
yeah.
I can literally hear Kevin Smith in every character. No offense to
Right.
Kevin Smith, no offense, but I can hear
No,
Kevin
but
Smith
that's a good
saying
point.
this, Kevin Smith saying that, Kevin Smith saying that. But
You
in
know, you're
Quentin
so right.
Tarantino movies, you
You're
can't
right.
hear Quentin. It literally sounds like different people.
That's a good point
That's
because
he's really good at writing.
well, 'cause he gets really into the character. He'll be like, all right, so this guy, okay, he's a Vietnam. Brad plays this guy. He's a Vietnam. Now, what you don't know is that he spent 10 years in a Saigon prison. All right, and he got it, and then now he has a scar. But that scar, all right, is from a guy who he helped escape. You know, it's like he goes like I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but you have to build like a backstory to your character. He's the master. I mean, he's like
Mhm.
on par. He's on par with Tolkien. Tolkien's
Yeah,
like that. Like the
yeah,
writing and the characters come for first, and the plot sort of just develops from there, and the writing and the script. And I just want to say this real quick too. Um, do you know Bret Easton Ellis, the writer?
what's his
Uh,
name?
Bret Easton Ellis is his name. He wrote American Psycho, Less Than Zero. Um, it was what else made into movies. American Psycho, he's known for, the writer of American Psycho.
Okay.
So anyway, but he's done many podcasts with Quentin Tarantino. He's
Hmm.
had him on the show. A lot of the clips that you'll see on YouTube of Quentin being interviewed is with Bret Easton Ellis. Bret Easton Ellis, I just talked to him today, friends with I can say that, with Todd, who is Bret's partner,
Hmm.
um, and lives with him in West Hollywood. And I guess and he has a podcast called the Bret Easton Ellis podcast, where Quentin has done many times.
Hmm.
And so it's held, they do the podcast at their suite it's called the Doheny Plaza. And it's
Hmm.
this really nice penthouse suite. And he has a podcast studio in his own house, which is nice. But Bret really works on it. And so Todd, just from being there, has met and gone to dinner with Quentin Tarantino many a time.
Hmm.
And I guess that they had soft shell crab together. And he's like, Todd says, okay, a lot of people come in, see Bret for the podcast, James Van Der Beek, actresses, actors, writers, critics, all these different people. And they leave and they always get dinner. He said, Quentin was the only one, because usually the Hollywood people are like, I'm a movie star, don't bother me. I'm too
Hmm.
cool to talk to you.
Hmm.
Quentin went out of his way to talk to, oh, hey, little Nixie.
Yeah, this is
Hey,
Nixie.
look at her eyes. So cute. The eyes on that thing. Oh my God. I miss my cat. So her eyes are amazing. Her colors. Look at it's like orange over here.
Yeah, she
And then
has
you
orange
sweet.
on this side, and then like black stripes on this
Wow.
side. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
So she's like a
very
rare
cool.
calico, not a regular calico.
Calico, that's the name. Yeah. Oh, so cute.
I looked up her
Hey, little.
type though, and it's like a rare type of calico. But her name is Nixie,
I can't do the high voice because my voice.
and her actual first name is Phoenix.
Oh, really? Because it's
Nixie
the
is just a
date.
nickname.
So Nixie is the Nix Phoenix. That's a cool name.
Phoenixie. Yep.
Oh, I love him. I miss my cat. I had a cat. Check this out, lived 22 years and of my life. So I was seven. No, I'm sorry, 20 years. I
Hmm.
was I was six when I got it, and it died when I was 20, 25 going on 26. That's what it was. But I
Hmm.
came back and I was so connected to that cat. And I'll tell you what, man, like I knew it had to die because it was skinny and it was not breathing. And
Hmm.
so I took it to the vet, and it was the hardest thing in my life ever, ever. I flipped
Yeah,
out.
I've had cats pass away. It's really
I
hard.
flipped out in the vet. Like, these people do it daily. It's not a big deal for them. For me, I was looking straight into the person's face. I was like, you bit. And the nurse was like, I'm just doing my job. Like, I'm like, "God," I was flipping out.
Hmm.
The only closure I got, and this borders on a paranormal experience, I guess,
Hmm.
was I had an experience that night. I drove back 2 hours away to Amherst where I lived, and I was thinking about Snuggles was the name of the cat. And but of course cats always have nicknames and things.
Hmm.
So a cat must have three names. And that's what Alfred Lord Tennyson, I think, said, or something like that. Or maybe it was some poet, British poets said that cats have to have at least three names.
My
Um,
cat sort of has three names. It's Phoenix, Nixie, Houston.
Nixie, right? Yeah, there you go. So, but I like Snuggles to me was, Baby No and Babina and KV1 and all these different names, right? Because you
Hmm.
love it. So anyway, but that night I had a vision. It was a dream. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna, but it was a dream. So take it for what it is. But in the dream, it was her fat because she was a fat cat. I kept her because I kept her indoor. I didn't want to get hurt outside because I saw her outside almost getting hurt one time. She came back with blood on her one time. I was like, that's enough. So I kept her inside and she got fat. But in the dream, there she was with her big fat belly, purring and smiling and just purring so loud that like she was in love and she was so happy. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh my God, you're so happy. It was like, it really was what heaven is described as. Like
Yeah.
your golden body, your body is actually resurrected as well. So it's like your highest potential goal, like through a
Hmm.
cat. And so when my little niece or my daughter or somebody asks, like, can our do cats go to heaven? I say, yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
Because like if heaven is a thing that we enjoy here and amplified, that's what I'm looking for, that word amplified. It was like an amplified version
Yeah,
of,
it seems like you did have a vision
but
of
I
peace.
woke up and I was so happy and I could actually feel her. And I woke up and it was closure. And
Wow.
to this day, I still have dreams. And I'll wake up, John. I'll wake up some days. I'm like, oh, that's right. She's not alive. You know.
Hmm.
I have to realize that. Oh, she's not. But then it's like she is. Oh, it's so. But so anyway, I love cats.
I
Let's
had
go
I had a supernatural pet
cat.
story very similar.
Really?
I had a dog named Blondie, and he was a family dog. Her name was Blondie, and I believe she was named Blondie before we got her. So we rescued her from someone, and she was a great dog, perfect dog. You know, she's very obedient. She did everything right. She was very loyal, very loving, and she lived a long time. And she got skinny, as old dogs do. You know,
That happened.
and then she's just resting on the carpet, and I pet her and I say goodbye. We're gonna go to the movies, and we went to the movies. And on the way to the movie theater, I had a vision pop up in my head, literally randomly pop up in my head, kind of like a thought bubble in a cartoon. Literally popped in my head. Really visual, animated movie popped into my head, and it was a vision. It was literally a supernatural vision. It was Blondie wagging her tail, happy, and you know, her tongue was sticking out of her mouth, and she was happy. Now Blondie didn't have a tail; it was cut off by like maybe some traumatic event. Her tail was cut off. She didn't have a tail; it got cut off like at birth, or we don't know.
That's
But
interesting.
so the tail was wagging, and I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting uh,
It was
daydream."
back,
I
right?
thought of it as a daydream, right? So we watched the movie. I can't remember what movie this is because this was over 15 years ago. This was a long time ago. So we go to the movie. We come back, and she's still lying on the carpet. She didn't move. She's not wagging her tail. She did have a nub of a tail. So she
Oh,
had a
no,
tail
yeah,
that was like this short, and it
yeah,
was supposed to be this long. So she
right.
didn't, but she wasn't greeting us. She wasn't saying, "Oh, thank you for being home," whatever, you know. She was
Hmm.
still in the same spot on the carpet. So we pet her and we tried to wake her up, and she passed away. And no one in the whole family knew she passed away. And I didn't know when I pet her goodbye, but she told me in that vision
Wow,
that she was in heaven, that she was happy.
that's amazing.
Isn't that
That's
amazing?
incredible.
No one in the whole family knew, and even I didn't know. I was the last person to know, but I was the first person to know because she literally told me in that daydream
That's
vision.
so amazing. I
Isn't
mean,
that awesome?
see, like a lot of people sometimes focus on the scary and the fear thing, but there's really good spiritual things too that
Mm-hmm.
happen. And I think that's a really good example of a spiritual. There's angels at work too. We focus on the demons sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but there are angels out there, but they do things not in the way like demons are. They're loud, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They like to make noise. You know, poltergeist means what? Noisy spirit. So like, but angels, even in the Bible, they don't really talk like yammer on a lot. Like when people say they channel angels and write it down, and that's not an angel. That you know what I mean? Like that might
Mm-hmm.
be a demon, but we don't hear, and I think that's a good place to like for our podcast
Mm-hmm.
is like end it on a positive note. Like
Yeah.
there's a spiritual side and it can work in really good ways too. Like and it doesn't come by like it comes when it wants and but it's a grace and it's like it's amazing and it's beyond your own imagination. It's like I couldn't even have come up with something that good. You know, it's beyond my own
Yeah. Like the
psyche.
tail wagging. The tail wagging is a tiny detail I didn't come up with.
Right.
I never
Right.
envisioned my dog with the wagging tail ever because she didn't
Or
have it.
like or like being fat, like my cat being
Yeah,
fat
like your
in the
cat being
dream. Like
healthy and big and happy, you know?
right, and not skinny, you know, and all that stuff. Like I
Yeah.
think that's the important thing to for our audience to know is like, you know, yeah, we might talk about demons, we might talk about the dark side. There's a very good side too that's looking out for you, and it
I
just
talk
doesn't talk.
about I talk about occultism from a research perspective. I talk about demons and poltergeists from a these supernatural things exist perspective. But angels, even in 2010 at the poltergeist haunted house, I sensed angels were protecting me from a distance the whole time. You know,
Really, that
there was a hawk that lived in the palm tree on the premises,
well,
and when that hawk flew around the house, I had just a sense that maybe that means angels are flying around the house protecting it.
that's so cool. Yeah,
And it was just a visual representation, but it made me a little bit more peaceful seeing
it's a
that.
spiritual. It is a spiritual reality that we don't really talk about too much because we don't know too much about them. You know, we know just enough Just
Yeah.
enough, I think. Just enough that God gives us to
Angels are
like.
definitely more mysterious than demons. Demons
I
are
think
kind of
so.
blunt, gross, and in your face.
Right.
Angels are they keep their distance and they're very strict to exactly following
Yeah.
whatever their structure of higher
Whatever.
ascended beings. They don't want you to know they're there.
Yeah.
They do their job perfectly, and it's
True.
been said many times, even on Futurama, when Bender became God for a second. I don't know if you saw that
Oh,
episode.
really? No, I don't remember that one. I
Like
love that show.
Bender became a supreme being for a second,
No.
and the actual supreme being of the universe said, "When they don't know you're there, you know you've perfectly done your job."
Oh, that's exactly right. No, it's, that's profound. That's true.
Yeah,
It's true. So, but we're kind of, it's 12:12. My
I know.
battery's
We
gonna
gotta
die.
get going. We gotta get
Gotta get
going.
going. I want to see how
So
this
we can
goes.
sign it on out. Nick D
Bye,
says
Nick D.
goodbye.
All right, bye everybody.
All right, bye.
All right, John, I'll talk to you later. I'll message
Till
you
next time, this is the
all this.
Pyramidical Podcast.
Pyramidal Podcast. Check it out. We'll be back next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.